Welcome to the Alex Urbina radio show. Today we're live in the KHTS studio in downtown Newhall, California, and I'm hanging out with my lovely co-host, Ellen Tunick. Today's show is all about life coaching and how to create maximum value for yourself, either from a life coach or from the simple willingness to be open to all possibilities. You're listening to a series called Helping You Reach Your Full Potential. Today we're going to do a live coaching session. We'll call it a jam session where we just open up possibilities for both of us and those that are listening in to see if we can find some value for ourselves. So I want to invite you into a two-way conversation between Ellen and I, and we're going to be talking about a few different topics, and I hope you can find value from that dialogue. But before we do that, I want to tee up the session. I'm going to invite you to practice the art of being coachable, and what I mean by that is you got to start off first by being open-minded. What I mean by that is you got to be open to all possibilities, not just the possibilities that you've created for yourself with some of the limited perspectives and points of views that you might have put in place that might be transparent and you're unaware of. So be aware that if you're open-minded and you're open to all possibilities, even if you can't see them currently, at least be open to them. And it'll be amazing how sometimes I'll ask people, are you open to it? And they have to really think about it. Or they'll say, yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
And then some will flat out just say, no, they're not open to it. And then at that point, I'm like, well, then the dialogue might not even really continue, because if you're not open to seeing a possibility, you're not going to see it.
There's no conversation.
Yeah, well, there's no opening for you to see a new way to look at it, to be able to have the kind of breakthroughs necessary for you to keep evolving and continue growing. Because if you think you know it all and you've limited yourself to just keep finding the value that validates that the way that I see it is the only way, then you're just going to keep regurgitating the same information, the same ideas, the same concepts.
And stay stuck.
And stay stuck with the same results that you've always created. So you got to be open-minded. The other thing is you got to be self-aware. What I mean by that is you got to be willing to look inward. Not outward, but looking into yourself and really being self-reflective. So you're going to have to kind of check in on yourself and ask yourself specific questions like, why do I think like that? Where did I start thinking like that? When did I start believing in what I believe in? And just kind of check in with yourself. And then the last thing is you got to be willing to surrender some old limiting beliefs, some old conditioning or outdated perspectives that might not be effective for you anymore, especially in today's world. So, for example, we could have created some old conditioning or beliefs when we grew up, or maybe in traumatic experiences that got us through those moments, but we never surrendered them as that they were beneficial for us in those moments. And so we might have unconsciously carried those belief systems with us, and not realizing that the world keeps evolving and growing and things are changing.
And you better. But
your belief system is not.
It's in the past.
That's right. So with that being said, what do you want to talk about today? What are some of the topics that you'd love to tackle?
I would love to tackle. I'm feeling after this last week of everything that's been on. I was touched by the fires, the borderline. I raised my family in Thousand Oaks for 30 years. This was home. And I've not had the emotional experience of having my daughter evacuated, coming out to the house with my grandkids, wondering if her house was going to be standing. My best friend for 30 years, her daughter and her family knew several people that lost their lives at the borderline. And she's in Newberry Park, so she was evacuated as well, came out. I've read about it. I've seen it, like so many people have on our TVs, read it. I haven't been personally touched by it like this time. And it brought up emotions that I've just not experienced before. So honestly, it was exhausting. It was really exhausting. And, everybody, fortunately, houses were intact. Funerals were had. And I think people are so incredibly resilient that they're putting one foot in front of the other and learning how to move forward. And now we move forward into, our holiday season. I guess I'm having a hard, one side of me says it's time to rejoice for what we have. It's time to embrace family and friends and all of that. And then the other side of me says, what about all of these people who've lost everything? Is it okay to sit at your family dinner and rejoice while these people are sitting in a shelter? I mean, it's kind of confusing to me.
Okay. So now I want you to explain to me what you're confused about specifically.
What's the question you're saying?
or just tell me, hey, Alex, I'm confused about this one piece.
The question for me is, I'm confused and wonder, is it okay, is it appropriate to still sit at your beautiful Thanksgiving table and be happy and, and joyful while there's so many people who have absolutely lost everything?
Yes, absolutely. It is okay. And this is why. We are all on our own journey. And while I'm on my journey and you're on your journey and everyone else listening to this broadcast is on their own journey, we all have to live our journey and experience our experiences and be present in the moment of our own journey. And so as you went through your own journey in an event that happened that affected hundreds of thousands of people, each one of them is having their own experience on their own journeys. But for you to take on the burden and the guilt of other people's journeys it's an error in thinking, because you can't. No matter how hard you try to take everyone's burdens and be responsible for them, you're not. And so you have to, that doesn't mean that you can't be compassionate for them. That doesn't mean you can't think of them. That doesn't mean that you can't support them however you feel like or even feel their pain, right? Because that's what a compassionate, sympathetic human being does. But to the point where you're actually wrapping this guilt around you because it didn't affect your journey the way it might have affected other people's journey.
My impact is so different.
Absolutely. And vice versa. If it did impact your journey in a way that was devastating, where, either lives were lost or homes were lost, you wouldn't want everyone else to be trying to carry your burden with you and not enjoying their families, would you not?
That's true.
Yeah, you would
true.
You would just say, "Hey guys,
enjoy."
It just hit me this time.
It's all good.
It was just me this time, or it was a selected few of us, and I get to figure out how to go through my journey through my holidays with dealing with whatever I got dealt with. The cards that I got dealt, I get to just figure out what it means to me. I get to accept the challenge of figuring out how to reinvent myself. I get the challenge of figuring out how to still be joyful and happy and find the goodness and the gratitude out of this event anyways. But for you guys that it didn't affect you in that way, go continue to live your life and be in the moment and experience the joys and the gratitudes and the blessings that you have. I get to still try to figure out where mine are.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of switch the shoes on you for a moment. Imagine if we all were so devastated and put the guilt on ourselves, then none of us would be thriving and none of us would be grateful and none of us would be enjoying the moment. So that leads me to another possibility, that you aren't allowing yourself to be present and enjoying in the moment experiences of your own life because you're still hung up on the past of what did happen or what you did experience rather than what am I experiencing right now.
So, yes, I totally hear that and accept that. So for me, I need to get out of my head a little bit.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah. Yay!
Life doesn't exist in your head.
And that's it's interesting that that's actually what's happening to me is I'm definitely up in my head and not as present as I would like to be in my own life and for others. And in our last conversation, something that has stuck with me and is so eye-opening. You asked me last time, are you a giver or a taker? And I looked at you and said, oh, come on, I'm a giver. And you told me, no, you're a taker. And I was so blown away by the concept as you explained it to me that I literally think about that every single day. Am I giving or am I taking? And I really struggle with that because I still take away people's ability to give to me. It's like I've been there for everybody, listening, hearing, blah, blah, blah. But I'm at a point right now, as I was driving in, where I just felt totally overwhelmed and sad, and almost tearful. And it's like, hey, village out there, is there anybody out there listening to me and, wanting to hold me, but I haven't asked.
So what do you need right now?
I need love and support, just acknowledgement. I have love, I have support, acknowledgement that I have feelings too. That I have feelings too, and sometimes I forget because I'm so busy feeling for everybody else that I forget about mine.
And what are those feelings?
I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm trying to understand the world. Someone said to me, well, this is our new normal. And I went, hell no, it's not my new normal. And they looked at me and I said, I'll go down fighting. I said, this will never be my normal. Trying to reinterpret my world.
Okay. So how can I support you in that? Because I got your back, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
100%.
So is it that you're struggling with accepting that what's happening in the world, like all these different tragedies and it happening so often that
I think because I'm older, it's like our kids are amazing and they're very resilient, and to them this is their normal. To me, at my age, growing up in the 50s, father knows best, and moving through, this has just hit me broadside that, right in my own backyard, people are being killed. So I want to be present in the world as it is, and I'm not really sure how to do that. How do I guess you just be present and accept. I don't know. I guess I'm really confused.
So imagine that people are being killed in our world every single day since you've been born.
True.
You agree with that?
Yes.
However, you've never really experienced it close up and right in your own backyard to where it's right in your own inner.
It's so real.
It's in your circle and it's hitting you because it's really close to you. So every time that it's happened, it's always happened in someone else's community.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. Just like when my dad passed away from cancer, it would always been someone's cousin's aunt or my neighbor's friend's best friend, but it never hit the Urbina family.
Yeah.
And until all of a sudden it hit the Urbina family, it became real. It was a new awareness and new understanding of this disease and how devastating it can be. And so it was my turn to experience that. So I think for you, this is new because you're just experiencing the awe and the devastation and the loss and the hurt and the destroying of family and love. And so it's all coming into play. So it's just a new awareness for you because it's always been happening.
Yeah.
Just the awareness was, oh, it's happening over there.
Right.
Not, hey, it's happening
Right here.
So what's the difference?
It's happening to me.
It's happening to you. And so now you're having a new experience and a new awareness that it is more real than me just having my heart broken for people over there and then it wears off for the next day or two or week. It's happening here, and I don't know how to shake it. It's not wearing off the way it is normally wearing off.
It's a whole, like I said, it's a very different emotional experience for me.
Are you ready for some advanced coaching?
Yes.
All right. You might be ready. I don't know if people are listening already, but I'm going to give you some advanced coaching. Do you understand the difference? Do you understand the concept of the yin and the yang?
Yes.
What is the yin and what is the yang?
Well, they're the opposites.
They're the opposites. So in this world of...
Thank God I got that right.
I'm not going to grade you, but that was a great answer. So in this world, everything has to have its opposite to exist. So we have to have up to understand what down is. We have to have left to know what right is. We have to have hot to understand and experience what cold is. Everything has its own opposite. And it's no different. It's just a universal law. It's no different than having love. In order to experience love, you have to experience fear. So in this world of having love and peace, there's going to be tragedy and fear. And it's not ever going to go away because we live in a world of the absolute and relativity. And so it's going to be here. Whether it's a new norm or not, that's just a decision you have to decide. But it's just part of the world that we live in. It's a universal law. Now, you can decide whether you don't like it or I don't want it. And you can be in resistance to it for the rest of your life until your dying day. But that's not going to change that in this world, we're going to have it and its opposite. We're going to have this and that. And this can't exist without that. So you have to learn at some point in a higher level of enlightenment to learn how to embrace all of it. The yin and the yang. Rather than saying, I only want this part, I don't want the opposite. Are you following me?
I absolutely follow you.
Okay, because they have to both be in existence for you to appreciate one versus the other.
So what you're saying is, with universal law, you're going to have both ends, both sides of the coin. You don't have to love what I perceive to be, the hate, you don't have to love that. Right? You have to accept that it exists.
That's right.
Okay.
We're not saying that you have to
embrace it and love it.
Yeah, you don't have to say I'm for it and I back it. You can just acknowledge that it exists and that it's going to keep existing.
You can't fight its existence.
No, because it's part of the whole plan. The universal plan of here versus there. It versus this versus that is just going to keep happening because it's part of the opposite of what is.
And it's been doing that since
time began. Since the Big Bang Theory.
But it just continues to look different.
That's correct, because you're evolving and you're growing. So your awareness now is really heightened because you've woken up and you can see and experience and you can feel and you have heartbreak and your heart breaks for people suffering. And so there's a natural part of you that says, I don't want people to suffer. Right?
Yeah,
and it kills you.
It does.
As it does me. However, we get to figure out how to counterbalance that which we don't like and what we don't want by adding the opposite.
Okay.
Be more loving, be more kind, be more generous, be more open, be more compassionate, share our light. So if enough of us understood this concept and we all embraced that and bought into it and contributed to it, we can offset it some, but you're not going to eliminate it.
I think that's a really interesting point. We could offset it. I think right now what makes people fearful is that the balance seems to be shifting to the other side.
Yeah, but that's perspective though.
Yes, it is.
Because most of where you gather information is through the news, right?
Which is that side.
Yeah, because they make a lot of money showing you the controversial stuff, and
Right,
they show you
right.
that side. But how many more things that are happening that are just plain miracles of beautiful
Every single moment of every day.
all day long, every day. Beautiful things are happening all over the world. We're just not highlighting that and showing that because it doesn't sell. It's not.
Why? Why would that? Why would that not sell? Every once in a while, when the news does the feel-good story at the end, and Ron and I look at each other and go, "Wow, wasn't that great?" I can't imagine that people don't want to sit in front of a TV and have that experience of, "Wow, that was great," instead of the other experience.
Well, I don't know the answer to that question, but I could tell you this: if it did sell, I guarantee you there'd be networks that would be thriving from that positivity and showing it would be. And I've heard of stations before and different companies that have decided they're going to do all positive news, and they don't last. It's
hard for me to get. It's just hard for me to understand. But I am open to, accepting that there is that and there is that.
So the point is that I'm trying to open up the possibility that just because you are seeing a lot of negative news and negative things happening in our world doesn't necessarily mean that the positive and the beautiful miracles aren't happening. They just might not be highlighted to show you that they're possibly the same or even.
So for me, I have to go to those places.
So you can search them out. Yes, absolutely. Or limit
the
other stuff that becomes now your reality, because you created a reality that the world is horrible right now at this time. And you're basing that based on the information that you're letting in.
The feedback.
The stuff that you're allowing yourself to. And you can actually find evidence that the world is a horrible place right now because of all the things that you're allowing to come in that seem to be so many times to be negative. So when we come back from the break, I'm going to ask you what your takeaway is from that conversation. So we'll give you a little time to cheat.
To process
it. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to ask you that question. What did you hear? What did you learn? Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
The minute I open my door, Debbie Morris has a problem. I say, oh my gosh, a really big problem. The dog, the cat, my 3-year-old. Debbie's house is a mess. How can one family create this disaster? Debbie needs Made for You. I need help. Professional residential and commercial cleaning, locally owned. You choose the schedule, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning. Call 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Made for You.
Made for You rescued me.
The Art Gallery of Santa Clarita Artists Association, located in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Railroad and Main, features local members' original artwork with changing exhibits every 2 months. Purchase affordable art for your home or as gifts. Open Friday through Sunday or by appointment. Artists wishing to join the SCAA can visit santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming shows, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Little Eye Leaders is the newest preschool in the Santa Clarita Valley. At Little Eye Leaders, our outstanding teachers lead with intellect, perspective, and heart. That means our programs provide a warm, nurturing atmosphere to meet the unique needs of each child. We believe that play is a powerful form of learning for young children. That's why our kids have every opportunity to learn through the magic and excitement of play. Parents, schedule a tour today by calling 303-0400 or online at littleeyeleaders.org.
Hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, Alex Urbina, hanging out with Ellen Tunick. You've been in the hot seat for the last 20 minutes. opening up some great conversation about the things that we don't know. And once we get some clarity on them, they can help us be a little bit more settled in the things that we might possibly be in resistance to, or just that we're unaware of on a bigger scale, to kind of help put us at ease sometimes. Because sometimes when we're unclear about something and we just need somebody to help shed some different perspective or a different light on it, then it can make sense to me so that I can stop suffering in my life.
Yes. Well, as I sat and processed that information, what I remember and what I want to always keep present in my head is we're the meaning maker of our life. So with that being...
Well, you must have a mouse in your pocket because you said we're the meaning maker.
I am the meaning maker.
Yes, you are. I didn't know because you said we are the meaning maker.
You never know.
That's right. That's why I had to check, make sure.
I am the meaning maker of my life. So I get to choose how I process the information that is coming in. And so accepting that the world has its yin and its yang, and it will always be like that, I have the choice how I want to take how and what information I want to take in.
Right. And another way to say it as well is that in the universe, there's another law or principle called cause and effect. So there are things that people are causing based on their choices, and then there's an effect. And so because there's cause and effect, when the effect happens and the masses of us don't like it, we're not in alignment with it, we don't want it, then we decide whether we're going to go into resistance of it, or we're going to decide that it is what it is. And then based on me not liking it, I get to counterbalance it so that it shows up less in my life, or so that I'm helping eliminate it from coming up as much as possible. And
not letting it dominate how you feel.
Yes, that's the biggest takeaway is how do I frame it or reframe it so that it doesn't make me angry.
Yeah.
So that
or sad.
So that I don't get feel guilty because I didn't do something about it, or that I can't change it, or so you get to decide based on every situation the meaning you want to give it. So the question is are you giving it a negative meaning or a positive meaning? Because you can actually put the positive spin on it such that you're able to walk away with some gratitude.
Yes. I think that it's a completely new way of looking at what I have experienced over this past week. And I'm forever grateful that my friends and family, have each other. And I'm going to, my takeaway is absolutely going to be understanding how the universe works, and being able to take my own positivity, my light, my heart, and make that the dominant feature of what I feel and what I bring in. And understanding you don't have to like it, but it is there and it's not going away. And I think what I was I think what a lot of us are trying to do is push it away, make it go away. What do we do? What do we do in this world to stop it? Well, we may not ever be able to stop it, but we have to be like the tipping. The more people that love and do goodness in the world, maybe we can tip it a little bit.
Absolutely, that for sure. We might not be able to stop it,
right?
But we can slow it down.
Yeah,
we can affect it so that it's not happening to another 10 families this month.
Right.
It's not happening to another 200,000 people this year. Like, let's start looking at how can I cause something to shift. Let's cause a shift in it. And really where it starts is with me.
Yes.
And a lot of us don't want to start with me. Because it takes a lot of work. And so what we want to do is we want to stop it out there
instead of in
here. And that's why the old saying is, if you want to see a change in the world, be that change.
Be the change.
However, it takes a lot of work and rigorous commitment for you to change yourself, starting with your point of view, your perceptions, your thinking. You really got to make a conscious, committed effort to do that kind of work on yourself. And not everyone gets excited to do that, because first you got to look at yourself, and then you got to see what you have. Or you have to see what you haven't been willing to see, which is a tough task.
I think for me is I truly believe that I can make a change.
Well, you are making a change.
I mean, I'm changing myself.
That's
and
right.
Hopefully in the process, I can open up ideas and opportunities for other people to see what journey they want to make. But I believe that I can. It's like I'm on a mission.
Yeah, even in this moment right now, just because of this show, just because you decided to be here wholeheartedly, courageously, raw, authentic, and get in a dialogue, and then be willing to look at yourself, challenge your beliefs, be willing to grab onto whatever golden nuggets you heard from the show. Just through that process, thousands of people, hopefully hundreds of thousands at some point, maybe before we die, will listen to the broadcast and are grabbing little golden nuggets. So you're helping people change through your willingness to change on the radio.
Little aha moments for us all.
Yes, for sure. Because somebody has to be willing to go first.
Yeah.
Someone has to be willing to say, hey, I'll jump in if it means that through my ahas, through my breakthroughs, that other people are going to see themselves in those breakthroughs, because they can identify that, hey, I believe like that too, or I have that same conditioning.
Trust me, I'm not the only person that's been thinking what I've been thinking this week.
Exactly. However, even the people listening, not everyone's going to be able to grab that concept. And that's why I said, are you ready for some advanced coaching?
Yeah.
Because you really have to be doing some work for a while to even kind of wrap your mind around that, because some people are going, what do you mean it's never going to stop? And they're having a hard time going, what do you mean? Like, I can't even wrap my mind around that.
We can't take all of this energy and focus it on it's never going to stop.
That's right.
We have to shift that energy to, I am going to create bigger, better, more beautiful, all of that. That's where I need to shift my energy.
Yeah, let's shift it on to how can I counterbalance it?
Yeah.
How can I contribute so that it offsets it?
Yes.
And I think you've already done that by you opening up your home, by you taking people in, by you creating this loving space for people to share.
Why do I think it's never enough?
Well, that's a
whole nother a whole nother show, guys.
Well, that's because there's a part of you that wants to end it.
Oh.
Rather than I did my part, and I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to be there for people, and you contributed. But if all of us contributed, like here's a great example. On Facebook, I was watching people say, my house is open for anybody that needs it. Great way for you to counterbalance. Hey, I have room for extra stables for horses.
Wasn't that just amazing?
Beautiful opportunity for people to decide that, I don't know how I can help, but I'm going to start with this.
I'm going to put it out there.
Imagine if that was only 10,000 people in an hour. Imagine if 200,000-300,000 people thought like that and jumped in. We could really stomp out and so much counterbalance these tragedies and people thinking that it's okay for me to walk into a beautiful community where there's love and peace, and it's okay for me to disrupt it.
Because my belief actually is that this is who we are. The beautiful people, the people that are willing to, to help, to, show up for other people. The other part, it is there and it exists.
What percentage would you say that they are of those people?
The bad guys.
The bad guys. the ones that are.
I think it's like,
and they're hurt. If you haven't noticed, they're really hurt, broken people that are suffering and don't get help.
And
so they've hit rock bottom, and some of their rock bottom is in order to
I think it's
make
minuscule.
myself feel better, or to justify it is to make other people feel the pain that I'm feeling.
Right. I think it's minuscule.
3%, 2%. 1%,
3-4%.
Okay. But notice how you made it that 1%. There's 99% of beautiful human beings and miracles, and the world is amazing, except that 1% or 2%. And so you want to hang on and focus on the 2% when the world, for the most part, we're beautiful human beings that really want to be there for each other and help each other out.
So my question is, why do we
meaning you and your mouse.
Me and the mouse. Why do I shift over to that 1 to 2%? I mean, what goes on in the mind that would focus on that instead of all the other stuff? I mean, I get it when you open it up to me, but why didn't I get that?
That's a great question. So I'm going to toss it back to you. Why do you go and hang on to the 1 or 2% of bad that happens?
Because it's probably the way I've always done it.
Okay. If I were to throw in the word fear in there, or if I asked you to answer I go there because I'm afraid of.
Yes.
How do you finish that sentence?
I go there
I'm afraid of
because
what?
Because I fear for my children and my grandchildren.
That's right. As I do.
However,
when the fear comes up, the father gets it and goes, I'm afraid that that's going to happen to the people I love the most that I can't protect.
I think that's our inability to control what happens to all of our loved ones is I want to get to the place of understanding and acceptance. If I have the opportunity to protect them, I will. But there's a 99.9% chance that if something would happen, I would not have that ability. It's like with my grandson being over in Afghanistan. I asked my son-in-law that same question. I said, "What's your greatest fear?" And he said that I'm not there to protect him. But as our children grow and become their own people, we have to accept less and less of our ability to protect them.
But we don't have to accept it, and a lot of us are not. That's the problem. We're not accepting that I can't control it. We're not surrendering it and shifting into having faith and trust. What we're doing is we're in resistance to it. So this goes back to now that question about now I have this fear that I can't protect my family or my kids when we kiss them and they say goodbye and they go out into the world. So I have two options. I either resist that I can't control them and drive and cause my blood pressure to go up, cause my own anxieties, and then causing my own cancer, my own sickness because I'm in resistance to the things that I can't control, or I choose to totally surrender that I can't control when they walk out of my presence and shift into a place of trust and faith that it'll be what it is. And I just get to, if they come home and they walk through the door, I get to embrace them and be grateful that they're safe, kiss them, and have one more day with them. I got to totally decide where am I choosing? Am I choosing to be in resistance, or am I choosing to trust and have faith and surrender the fear?
And on top of all of that, and you're absolutely right, I want to be more self-reflective when that fear pops in, when I get triggered by that, to have the, okay, I know I'm feeling where that's coming from, and I have the opportunity to reframe that for myself. But I want to show my children and my grandchildren that that's that person I want to be. So that, I mean, I know I know they work on it also, like all the time, but it's a wonderful thing to be able to, it's like with my granddaughter, you know, I tell her all the time, I trust you. I trust you to make good choices. It's got nothing to do with me, you know, and so I forget what it was, but, we went away for a weekend, my Chumash weekend, and I let her stay in the house. And she asked me, can I have some friends over? I said, absolutely. And they were great. Everything was wonderful. And we came back, and I texted her and I said, I'm so happy that you enjoyed yourself, and I'm very grateful that you and your friends respected our home. And she texted me back, and she said, you don't know how happy that makes me that you trust me.
Now, when you were over there, did you really trust her?
I did.
Now, when you were really trusting her, it forced you to surrender your fears.
Correct. Because I could have had a lot of them.
Absolutely. So it's the same mechanism.
Yeah.
With what's going on here is you have to surrender the fear by leaning into the trust, by deciding that you have enough faith in you to let it go, let it be what it is, and then whatever it is pops up. When you come back, I'll deal with it then.
Yeah.
When I come back and the house isn't burned down and there's no neighbor complaining that the cops were there, then you can go to gratitude.
Yes.
So it just
it's that same concept.
It's a process and it's a choice that you get to.
And I've practiced it with her, so I know what that feels like. So now I have to expand that into everything. Okay.
Now, with that being said, we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, I want to transition into how to help people have a beautiful holiday. How do I create an extraordinary holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and not carry all of the burdens and the pains and the so-and-so's not going to be here this year, and I just came off of this horrific experience. How do we go into the holiday and have a beautiful experience? All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that right here on the Alex Urbina Radio Show on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Cruz, and my wife and I own the local pub and grill. With 19 70-inch TVs, it's the best place in the valley to catch a game. We have a vast selection of beer, wine, and specialty cocktails to choose from, including our charity ale, where 10% of every pint we sell goes to Carousel Ranch. Our menu features classics with a flavorful twist. Come by for Taco Trivia Tuesdays at 7, Wines Day for bingo and karaoke starting at 8 p.m., and karaoke every Saturday at 9. Local Pub and Grill, right next to Bevmo on the Old Road. Support local, support community.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
This Christmas, join us for the ultimate holiday concert, A Very Merry Christmas with the Letterman, Sunday, December 9th, 5 p.m. at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center. The legendary Letterman here in Santa Clarita singing your favorite holiday classics. Joining them is Santa Clarita's singing sensation, Savannah Burrows, along with our very own West Ranch High School choir. You'll also hear the Letterman perform their string of top 10 hits. A Very Merry Christmas with the Letterman.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
The Letterman, Savannah Burrows, and West Ranch Choir, Sunday, December 9th. For tickets, visit canyonspack.com.
Merry Christmas. KHTS.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220, your hometown station.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina Radio Show. We're talking today about how to get past some of the tragedies, some of the negative experiences that we've had. And I want to transition us onto the possibility that we can have a beautiful experience for the holidays if we chose to from a conscious place. So I'm going to go over a few distinctions to help remind you that you can actually choose these things yourself. So the first thing is you got to be aware of practicing how to be in the moment.
That's big.
Now, being in the moment is literally a practice.
Yes,
because
it is.
Most of us unconsciously we're hardwired to be living up in our mind. And up in your mind holds all of the memories from your past. So the more you're up in your head or in your mind, it's very easy to keep tapping back to your past. Past meaning anything past this present moment now, which means this morning, last night, yesterday, a year ago, 10 years ago. So anytime you are in your head, you're thinking about the past, you're bringing up the past and you're comparing it to this moment, or you're comparing it to what might be or what could be. So a lot of my clients and the people that I've helped through the years, a lot of times around this time of year, they struggle because they are thinking about what they had, who's not here. And so they're living their life in the past, expecting to not have a great present moment coming Thanksgiving, coming Christmas, coming New Year's. So the first thing is you got to practice learning how to be in the moment. If you're in the moment more, the past, you don't drag the past into the present moment and taint all the unlimited possibilities that you can create for yourself in the present moment when you're being present. So that's number one. Number two is you have to be willing to let the past go. You can be grateful for it. You can store it for when you consciously choose to remember it, but don't let it unconsciously just kind of make its way in or slide in from underneath the door or through the cracks to taint this present moment. Be prepared to surrender and let go of the past, because the past actually doesn't exist anymore. It's just a figment of your imagination that you have stored somewhere up here in your mind.
What's a memory then? It's just
it's
a memory.
It's just something that you
I can remember if I choose to.
It reminds you that you were there and you saw, witnessed, and had an experience.
Okay.
However, a lot of times we bring some of the traumatic experiences and they just unconsciously creep in and we get triggered by things. We can be walking by and see a loving family walking by, and all of a sudden that triggers, man, that reminds me when I was married and had my kids, and now I'm walking home all sad because it reminded me that I don't have that loving family anymore. But that was part of your past. The present moment means be in the present moment with this new experience on this journey that you're on to experience this whole brand new experience. And so a lot of us, we get into resistance of not wanting to experience that because we had these beautiful moments that we want to hold on to
or recreate.
And then we go to, why don't I have them anymore? And then before you know it, we're down, we curled up in a little ball in the corner, crying ourselves to sleep because you're still operating from your past.
I think that so many people spend a lot of energy on trying to recreate what they thought or what they had. And you can't recreate anything.
Yeah, you can get close to it, but you still can't recreate because everything's
original. You can set the table the same.
Yeah. But even if you set it the same, it might look the same, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah, you can.
And then you get disappointed.
That's, of course you are, because you don't realize that you have to learn how to create new moments,
in the moment,
not recreate new moments.
Yes.
There's a distinction between creating something from scratch versus I'm going to try to recreate something from the past. So learn how to be more in the present moment, let go of your past, and then you have to be willing to create your experience. So here's an example. My family's not getting along. I don't know if my brother's coming over and all that. You just go, look, Alex is having Thanksgiving at my house. I'm going to start off with, small bowl of mashed potatoes, whatever, and I'm going to have the best Thanksgiving that I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm inviting those of you that want to be a part of it. But I'm creating it. I'm bringing it out of a pure intention to cause and create my own experience. Now, if you all want to be a part of it and join in, I'm totally open to that. I can laugh and dance and sing and cook with other people in partnership, but I can't make you, and I can't force you. But I've decided
I can't be responsible.
That's right. But I can create my own experience. So, along with being present in the moment, letting go of the past, and then deciding that you're going to create your own experience this holiday is powerful all by itself. And then if you throw in, you sprinkle on top that I have no expectations of it looking a certain way,
or even feeling a certain way.
That's right. And I have no attachments, like I have to be attached to it, feeling, looking, and tasting a certain way. And I threw in tasting because you know what? You could burn the rolls.
I always do.
Okay, so
nobody lets me do bread at my house anymore.
But if you're unattached to that,
we just laugh.
You know what, honey? Thanksgiving doesn't taste as delicious as it was last Thanksgiving. Then you're not disappointed because you have no attachments, you had no expectations, but you're just allowing yourself to be in the moment and experiencing your experiences, creating your experiences, and then gratitude can come out of all of those amazing ways of being from within yourself.
Well, I've made myself happy hearing all that and taking all that in. I think we get mixed up on the word tradition. It's like, what does tradition mean? For so many, I think their concept of tradition is recreating year after year after year.
It's very easy to get rigid that it has to look the same way.
And feel the same way and taste the same way.
Exactly.
Or it's been a failure.
Exactly. Instead of some of us looking back and just really dissecting what the tradition was, because sometimes the tradition gets lost, like the purpose of it. And when you stop and go, wait a minute, what was the purpose of the tradition? And when you really look at it, you go, the tradition was really just for all of us to be together.
Correct.
And if we're being together, deciding that the turkey didn't come out and we just decided let's all go to Coco's or wherever,
order a pizza, whatever.
Yeah. But the tradition was,
we're all here.
It all started to just be together.
Yeah.
So why not be together, being together, doing whatever we decided we're going to do and have whatever we're going to have. So a lot of times the message could be lost in why we started doing something in the first place.
Yeah.
So I want to give people and invite people to decide that they're going to first starts off with deciding you're going to have a beautiful experience with your family and then or yourself, but decide you're going to do it, go create it, and be happy.
Absolutely.
How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful.
All right, I love that.
Me and my mouse.
All right. The good news is we're here every Friday at noon. Thanks for following me here on the Alex Urbina Radio Show on your hometown station, KHTS.